Welcome to Inside Sim Racing and a look at iRacing's new build, Season 2 build that just came out about 2 weeks ago. I'm Darren Ganji here with
Jason Dunnington.
And we're just going to talk about some features that they added and some tips on how to adjust them if you're not familiar with doing that. And then just, again, talk about some of the new features and some of the things they've added. Probably one of the biggest builds they've ever had.
Quite a huge build for, well, as a couple years I've been here. It's about the biggest I've seen.
Well, I've been on since the very beginning, and this is probably one of the most extensive builds I've seen to date. So let's just get right to it.
Yeah. Starting
with the user interface. And this is actually, I think, a really cool feature because I was honestly getting tired of where the boxes lied.
Right.
And not that they were in a bad position, but
no.
You know, with titles like Assetto Corsa, where you can move anything anywhere.
You get a little spoiled to moving stuff around, then it's like, God, I can't even move that.
Yeah, I want that option to move this wherever I want. So what we're talking about is like, you know, if you have the F screens up, like if I'm saying F screens because and now you can map them to buttons, but originally, you know, in iRacing and before in NASCAR 2003, you hit the F1 key, F2 key, F3 key, and it brought up, you know, your timing, your relative screen,
right?
Your position, standings, exactly.
Yeah.
So that screen that ends up it shows up in the bottom right, and pretty much any one of those boxes on screen now, you can move.
Yeah, including the virtual mirror and stuff. So that's pretty sweet.
It is really sweet. And the way you do that is you just hit Alt-K on your keyboard. Those boxes will then highlight blue, and then it's just basically a drop and drag. You click in, you know, on any one of those boxes, and then you can move them anywhere you want.
Yeah, except when you first start, you can't move it out of that center screen if you're running triple screens, but you can if you jump into the iRacing folder in your documents, go down and find the app INI, scan down and find Drive UI full screen and make that equal 1. And that will allow you to span it to your whole triple screen field of view, which is really cool.
Exactly. Yeah, so you can move those boxes over to one of your side monitors if you want. And just a little more detail, there's 2 ways you can find that line. You can do a search for Drive UI full screen. You do a Control F and a little find text will pop up. And then there's another one that says Session UI full screen to allow the replay screen to span to all 3 monitors. So
as well, right.
Yeah. So that's a cool new feature, and again, something that I've been hoping for a while, and I had no idea they were going to even implement. I've been testing in the alpha version. I probably could have done that and had no idea.
Oh, right. Well, moving along though, we got a cool little app feature that you can run on your iMac, you know, your little tablets or your phone. It's called a Brass Monkey. It's been around for a while, but now iRacing fully supports it. So, and as long as you are on your network, it should work without fail. We had really no issues at all.
No, and to get it, go into like. So I have an Android phone, Jason has an iPhone. Go to the App Store within your particular operating system, whatever type of phone you have. Do a search for Brass Monkey, and it's not going to be an iRacing app. Brass Monkey is something that supports other stuff too.
Yeah.
So get Brass Monkey. You have to become a member, which only took a minute. You just sign up. You don't even have to verify your membership or your user ID.
Right.
And then as long as iRacing's booted up and you've got it connected to your network, bam!
Yeah, start the app and it's up. And the cool thing is you can mess around with people because you can take over and actually take over the controls.
We have some footage of me doing it to Jason.
besides just the HUD, which is neat because you can mount, you know, put that anywhere. But yeah.
So yeah, you can use it as an external display, or, and we don't really recommend this, you can actually drive with that. It's kind of cool just to mess around. Yeah. There's no force feedback, needless to say.
Right.
But yeah, it's a cool feature, mainly for you can use that as an external display. So you don't have to buy an external display anymore. You don't have to buy a program that does it. You get it for free, load it, and like Jason said, you can mount it wherever you want.
Yeah.
So that's really neat. Next up, this is another tweak that you need to do on the back end, and they've made a change. It's an experimental friction damper that they've added to the sim, and it provides a small amount of resistance to the wheel motion no matter how slow or fast you move the wheel, which basically creates a sense of weight on your wheel.
Yeah, at all times.
Yeah. Why don't you tell them how to do it?
That's actually, again, pretty easy. You hop into your iRacing folder.
Same place, App INI.
Yeah, it's in the App INI. You drop down to find steering dampening max present, and it's a
percent.
I'm sorry, present. You know, equals 0.0. You make that in between 0 or 0.05 and 0.30, depending on how much weight you want to the wheel. They say, though, if it becomes unstable, then knock it down to 0.10 or lower. But you really shouldn't need to adjust it at all. It's just a cool little feature to play around with. It does actually add some weight, though. We played around with it, and it's
feels a little more realistic.
I would say even better, right?
Yeah. And just another thing too. There's I think like 3 or 4 zeros, so you'll see the default value there, and just make sure you add the number. Don't get rid of the rest of those zeros because I think you'll have a problem. So anyway, just make sure that you add that value properly, or you might have issues. Another small change in the garage menu, you can actually change from English or standard units to metric.
Right inside the garage, which is really nice because I don't know how many times I've been in a race and, hey, how many liters is that? Dude, I use gallons. I don't really know how many. Times that by 4. That's about right.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. So you can do that there. Another change, what do you think about this? Wheel color. You can change the wheel color in the three GT cars, basically, the BMW, the Porsche, and the McLaren, and then pretty much all the stock
Every
cars.
NASCAR, stock car, or truck included, yeah. It's a cool feature. You see it in real life. They paint the rims all the time. Personally, I haven't painted mine because
I think it just adds a little more personality to the car.
It definitely.
I think it looks cool.
For sure.
So I think that's a cool feature that they've added. And again, like we said, they've added a lot of stuff to this new build, so it's pretty cool. How extensive it was.
New sound models, little back crackles and pops. On multiple cars. I'm not even going to bother listing them, but there's so many.
Yeah, the way it's listed, it has a new layer of backfire and crackle sounds for traction control, rev limiter, pit limiter, and upshift ignition cut. So yeah, it's cool. It adds more life to the cars. Speaking of new cars too, the BMW Gt3 is available, and the Toyota Camry on the NASCAR side, Gen 6. So if you didn't know that, those two are available now. Some changes to almost every car.
Pretty much.
There's a list of cars, and we'll get to those in a second, that got the new tire model version 5. But a lot of them had suspension updates, and like even the Radical, which is a car that I got really into last season, they even made some changes to that car.
Right. The Corvette's been around forever, and they made changes to that as well.
They just added traction control, and traction control could be disabled for 5 seconds. Honestly, I mean, it's probably realistic based on real life cars. My traction control is my right foot.
That's right where it's at. Yeah, that's where my traction control is. Same with the ABS. That's my left foot.
Well, and honestly, it may be realistic, but like those GT3 cars, I just don't like the fact that they have them. I mean, and again, it may be what real world cars in that class that I don't know have nowadays, but I just like to use my right foot.
I'm kind of old school myself. I really, it's all about my pedals. And, one of the Ferrari F1 drivers proved that yet the computers are still not fast enough braking. So I would rather take them out of the equation totally myself.
Yeah, and I think it just leaves more to the driver.
Yeah.
So, and actually, a lot of the setups that I found, like in the forums for the BMW and the McLaren, those are using a lot of traction control and ABS, and probably faster that way, but...
No, I doubt they are.
I don't know.
You get a grip.
Give us some comments.
Yeah.
Is it faster with the traction control and ABS or not? I honestly haven't driven them enough.
And get us some comments with some great drivers, some people that know what they're doing, because somebody that runs zero aids like us, we start out, I turn everything off, and so does he, Somebody like that. The good racers, hardcore sim racers, try it, see if you're faster with it. If you are, let us know, because I don't think you are. I don't think you can be.
Yeah, that's a good question. So let's talk about the new tire Model 5 cars. Chevy Impala Class B, Impala COT, National Impala, the Silverado, the SS Gen 6.
All three of the Gen 6 cars.
All the Gens, well, the Toyota came with it, so it's brand new. The Ford Mustang Class B, HPD, the Riley Daytona prototype, and the Star Mazda. So, have you driven all of them?
I have driven every single one of them last night, yes.
So what do you think of them?
Love him a lot. I'm really happy finally, thank God. I'm a big DP and HPD driver fan. Rookie year a couple years ago in my HPD, which I think I ended up 16th in the whole season. Of,
oh, nice.
Yeah, not bad for what, Division 2.
But I think they all feel like we were just driving the truck, the Silverado, and you can step it out. You can really feel what it's doing. I personally like them, and we were just driving the fixed setup. So
yeah, and the great thing is walking it around the corners. That's the thing I miss the most is that you get that super fast snap that you used to always with so many other tire models. And now I could drift that sucker right, pull that baby right around the corner and just steer with my foot and get out of it pretty good.
Not using traction control, needless to say.
Not using traction control, right.
So yeah, lots of, I think that's almost filling out the whole fleet of cars with the new Tire Model 5. There may be one or two that don't have it yet, but the Dallara.
The Dallara, yes.
I was kind of hoping to see it in the Dallara. I'm actually hoping that Otto Zabini, when I saw him in Dallas in March, mentioned that they were going to try to have the DW12 out for Indy, which is this month. So let's talk about the tracks a little bit here, and this is going to be pretty short. We're almost done here, but we just wanted to talk about some of the cool new, mention some of those features if you weren't aware of how to adjust those, and just give you some tips on how to do that, and then talk a little bit about some of the other cool features. And we're not going through the whole change log. We're just kind of highlighting some certain things. So tracks, they've added animation at some of the tracks. At the spectator area, Circuit of the Americas has it, and Lucas Oil Raceway, which are two brand new tracks, by the way, if you haven't checked them out. And these characters will appear if shaders are enabled, crowds are set to low or higher, grandstands are set to low or higher, and object detail is set to high. Now, you just got Circuit of Americas yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Did you go in with a full field of cars? Or
no, I was in testing because
I went out during week 13, and there was like 30-plus cars practicing at Circuit of the Americas.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a serious frame rate hog. I was struggling to maintain like pretty solid high frame rates at that track with a lot of cars, and what people found was because it was because of the animations. iRacing has now come up with an update that has addressed it and made it more frame rate friendly.
Right.
But Circuit of the Americas is a big track.
That's a big track, and I think yesterday when I was running on it, I actually dropped down because normally I have mine capped at or limited to 160, and I was only pushing like about 82, 85 frames a second on that, and in some places it was.
And you were alone.
Great. And I was all by myself testing, yeah. So.
And that's a new track, and they may be doing more optimizing of it.
I'm sure they will.
Over time, and I would imagine it's hard to develop for so many different systems. Everybody's got a different. How many people have identical PCs?
None.
Yeah, there's always going to be some variable between one PC to another. So, I'm sure over time they're going to optimize it even more. But if you want to get rid of those animations, basically turn the things that we said to off, and the animations will be gone.
Yeah.
So you won't have those anymore, and your frame rate. I did it actually before their change, and it made a huge frame rate difference. So
really cool.
So that's something to definitely to look into if you were struggling to get. And I've heard people in our forums. I saw some people at the iRacing forums that COTA, Circuit of the Americas, was a frame rate hog.
Yes.
So one last thing I just want to add and talk about really quick: Long Beach. It's a test track. If you didn't even know it was in the service, if you go under tracks, and I think it's under test or something like that. Mm-hmm. There's two different tracks available: Long Beach and New Jersey. And it's basically a lot of it's not a finished track.
Right.
But they just added brake markers to Long Beach, which should help you out for visual cues and stuff like that. But honestly, I'd like to see them finish that track.
Long Beach is an awesome track. It's
iconic.
It's very iconic, exactly.
And it's a blast to race.
It's just a fun track. Plus, besides just when you're out there learning the track, it's so nice just to look around, be Sunday driving for a couple laps and just check out what they've done with it.
Well, Forza Turn 10 just came out with a laser scan version of Long Beach. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see the comparison between those two, and with iRacing fully doing that one up.
Right,
so.
and Forza kind of going with the carnival type look on
Not
the
as
side.
bad with no.
They've been doing
You
better.
haven't tried it yet, have you?
I haven't tried the new. No.
No, it's more on the realistic side. I mean,
right.
there's a helicopter hovering overhead.
That's normal though.
But
and I
for
can
the
see
most
a blimp.
part, yeah, for the most part, it's a very realistic version.
Good.
And we're getting off track. We're here to talk about the iRacing new build.
Yeah.
So, anyway, that's about it. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap it up with the new build?
Oh, the other little extra bonus or extra update they did with all the oval cars, well, the whole list, was the bumping on the tires. They fixed that. It definitely made a big difference, because before you barely brush a wall and
You've been a wheel.
Yeah, it's all sorts of.
So now you thought maybe it was a little overdone now? You think you can bang the wall a little too hard?
You know, on some of them, it felt like, I mean, I creamed into the wall. I'm sure I'll show you some footage here of popping the wall a few times, that I was still able to drive quite straight. And I was like, okay, that's, you know, but at the same time,
Well, too, if you pancake it?
If you hit it just right, yeah, you could be totally fine.
Yeah.
And maybe that was what I did, and I like the ability that now, because you're running tight. You're on those
Well, it's ovals, man. Yeah, you're bumping and banging.
Yeah, so you kind of need to be able to bump and bang and still be able to drive the dang car, you know. And I think they did a good job with that.
Actually, I got one more thing to add, and I don't have the article in front of me, and I can't think of the guy's name. I just read it in iRacing News, and you can pull up a screenshot of it and show these guys and girls. There's a guy that just came on board to iRacing that has been in the game development arena for a while, and he's going to be specifically working on how crashes are handled.
Oh, nice.
Within iRacing, because there's some pretty unrealistic crashes where the cars will just launch into the fence.
Yeah, or stick into the fence.
Yeah, he's actually going to work on the crash modeling to where the crashes look and feel a lot more realistic. Oh, another thing I read too is like somebody's wing could get damaged, and it could just be flapping in the wing.
Oh,
and you have
fly
to
off, possibly?
and damage the car that's behind it.
Oh, dude, nice. Right on.
So you're gonna have to, if you see a guy with the wing flapping in front of you, it could fall off and
beware.
potentially get wedged under your car or damage your car. So that's gonna be a cool new feature that's gonna be coming to iRacing.
Excellent. Yes.
So anyway, that's gonna wrap it up. Hopefully you've enjoyed this look into iRacing's new build. We could have gone into more detail. We would have been here for over an hour because there was a ton of new changes.
Yeah, go check it out. You could look through there and talk to some of the guys that are out there running. You know.
Matter of fact, we'll put a link up here on the screen right now that'll go to our website and the blog that we reported on, and it has the whole change log. You can check it out there. If you're not on iRacing, or if you are and you just haven't been on, you know, since the new build, you should definitely go in and check it out.
Yeah. So
that's gonna wrap it up for Jason Dunnington. I'm Darren Ganji. Hope you enjoyed this. Check us out on our website, isrtv.com. And again, I'm gonna have a link here, right here on the screen. So if you wanna come to our website, click here on the screen right where it says ISRTV, and it'll take you to our website. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. And I'm bumbling my words here. Anyway, we'll see you guys next time.
Take care.